Hey guys, we're going to take a quick look at this new GEARWRENCH three-piece ratchet set that's now available online. Was actually waiting quite a while for this to kind of finally come in the mail, um, as it was only available online via certain retailers. And it's actually a replacement, and we'll dive into each one of these. You got your quarter-inch drive, 3/8-inch drive, and your half-inch drive. But this is a replacement to the older GEARWRENCH three-piece set, or you can buy them singularly, where they had actually a sliding locking mechanism that allowed you to let it kind of free fly, but also allowed you to lock it in place in a specific location. Um, and that wrench, I think, worked well, and you may still actually be able to purchase it. I've seen some online, but this is the latest answer to that. And it's a whole new design altogether, and a whole new locking mechanism. And I'm actually quite excited to review and unbox this with you guys, so you can see exactly what this is and how it comes together as a whole package of these three items. So starting off first, as you know, it's a three-piece set. We already went over quarter-inch, 3/8, and half-inch drive. And part number, for those of you who may be interested, is 81382. And another unique feature about this is these heads are all 120 tooth ratcheting heads. So more than your 70, 72 tooth, 90. But what makes these unique is that 122 tooth. And the only way to physically get that tooth count is to basically put dual pawls within the ratchet head that are 60 teeth each. So we'll take a quick look here at the 3/8. I mean, for me, this will be the most used item for most of the projects I'm on, but obviously half-inch and quarter-inch will have their place. But overall, looking at it, I mean, design-wise, let's see if we can get you guys a good view at that. I mean, I actually really, when we're talking about like the finish, uh, this actually has a really nice, even, clean finish, right? This beam is straight. And for those of you who want to know the individual part number, it is 81297 if you just want the 3/8-inch drive. And I like as well, right? They have put the GEARWRENCH, the new GEARWRENCH logo. They've stamped it into the wrench. Right? I prefer by a long shot the stamping, and to me that also shows the extra time and money put into a ratchet. And then down here in the handle, right, it has a nice little, I guess you could call it like a bulge, right? It allows you to get a better grip, and that kind of the teardrop shape. But they actually went in here and took the time to put an epoxy paint into this indentation. So quite nice. And then even the transition around the backside is quite nice as well. So I believe they are starting to do the comfort grip now too. So those of you guys who like the GEARWRENCH comfort grip, those should be coming out as well. But for me, honestly, by the time you're getting a longer handle like this one, um, I like to have the ability, well, one, to get into tighter places. For me, comfort grip tends to get in places, tends to get tore up, and then as well, easy use for a breaker bar. Comfort grips get tore up if you throw an extra extension on them. I like for my long handled ratchets to not be comfort grips for the most part. So, in the case of this one, perfect for what I wanted. Now, look at the design. Um, how the locking mechanism works is this push button. So when it's depressed down, and that's actually cool. They took the time to physically create that little lock logo for you to see. And it actually has a satin finish. So to lock it's down, and this is the movement that you see once it's locked. Now it's not perfectly locked, right? So you're seeing a little bit of back and forth movement, right? Maybe 3 to 5 degrees. Do wish that was probably a little bit tighter, but that does fall in line with, because I was actually just playing with this. Here's a power torque that you can pick up at O'Reilly's. This is a nice little slim design. It has a similar looseness, but this is a much less expensive ratchet. Now, if you talk about, say, I actually really like this Carlisle, and maybe I'll review this one in the future, but look at that plate. it's almost not there. That is a tight wrench. And we're spending good money because this set right here, I'll jump into the price here with you. This set is roughly $200. I know there's sales right now. They're probably getting closer to 160, 175. But for a $200 set, you want some tightness. So I would say it's not terrible, but that is a gripe I have, is how tight that head is, right? Now side to side play, very little. It does give you that hex here to be able to tighten it down. It looks like it's a good size one as well. So I do like that, and I do appreciate the tines here, or the fork. So that actual width, and we could compare that to, once again, the power torque is actually a pretty decent one, but still not as thick. It's thicker than the Carlisle, and I don't know how much snappy out, but the Icon is actually fairly similar to Snap-on in its size. Right? These tines, these forks, are much thinner and more susceptible to breaking. So when I saw this design, I was actually quite excited. This is a lot of meat that they left, and the center section is not compensated in the process. So you still have this thicker head, but you gained these really boxy, strong forks. So I really appreciate that design, but the wobble, not so much. Now to activate, obviously depress from underneath, it releases and comes up, and then that allows the head to move, right? And so you have about 12 increments. It doesn't go full 90. You have to overpress it to make it go full 90. I don't know who really goes that far anyways, but you get those 10, 15 degree increments as you go, and it works quite well. So if you want to have essentially a long ratchet, or let's call it even a breaker bar ratchet, that has that length and has the ability to be flexible, it is a little bit notchy, but it'll do the job. And so you could work, maybe say you're working on something, and as you're wrenching, you got to clear an item, you're still able to keep that flex head. And then when you're ready to pick a position and lock down, it locks down fairly good, albeit it does have that slight wobble. So that's my only gripe in that area. Now the lever action, and I do like here too, right? This is also stamped, right? Stamped, and then once again, the GEARWRENCH logo has an epoxy paint inside there. So it leaves a very nice presence and finish. Now back to loosen, GEARWRENCH goes with the on and off switch. And that lever, the reversing lever, is actually quite nice. It's small, but it's substantial enough you could catch your finger on it. It does kind of lock in fairly good. I do wish it had a little bit more positive feel, but it's not bad. I don't think you'd bump it too easy. It does lock fairly good on this 3/8. So, and then on the backside here, you got a couple Torx screws that allow you to service the ratchet. I'm not going to dive into this Paul setup just now. I think I might do a follow-up video. Let me know if you want to see a follow-up video of me taking this apart and comparing the dual Paul setup compared to some other ratchets that are out there. But we will take a quick look here. Looks like the anvil has a nice machine finish. It's painted. It's like a black oxide. And the detent ball is right there. It's nice and centered. Let's see how well it is pressure-wise. Getting on and off. I would say that's actually fairly decent. It's not super stiff, like some of the more professional lines, but it's not loose by any means. So I'd say it's somewhere in the middle, maybe on the slightly tighter side, but not bad. Yeah, I give it a B as far as tightness. So that's the 3/8 drive. Now, once again, and I was just looking at this. When it comes to the actual beam and the handle, that is very well done. I think they did an excellent job, especially for GEARWRENCH. They did an excellent job. And we look at the actual head of the ratchet. I may be splitting hairs, but the fine chroming, right? The actual finish underneath here, where they tend to polish that prior to the chrome process. Not so great. And I guess you could bark maybe here on the bean a little bit. That's not perfect. But I do like that everywhere around where those sharp edges are, they were careful to put nice tapers and transitions, right? So you're not going to get like a sharp corner as you're messing with it. But for whatever the head, it is quite blocky on the sides and underneath. The only place that has a decent taper is along the top. So I feel like that could have been finished a little bit better, especially since this set is made not in China, but it's made in Taiwan. And Taiwan products, for the most part, can turn out quite well. So, also, what's really nice about this wrench setup that drew me to it is this head design, right? It is a very, I mean, if you look at the ratchet, it appears to not go much further outside the actual width of the fork, and that gives it a really tight head design. And let's just do a quick comparison side by side to their current standing of the 90 tooth ratchet. Right, you can see that head is significantly larger on the 90 tooth. And some people might be saying, well, it's because it's a 90 tooth and it's a single pawl design, right? So they can't cheat the gears. That's true. But doing the dual pawl design does allow you to get a smaller head. But typically the trade-off for that, and it's actually quite relevant here, is the thickness, right? We can do a quick measurement so you guys could see, is the actual depth and thickness of the head. Let's clear this out real quick. So, take a quick look. Of course, I got my wrong hand grabbing the wrong side. We'll lay it down real quick. We'll do one at a time. So, the actual depth of the new gear wrench is, let's just say 13.1 millimeters. And the actual depth of this one is 12.1. So, 1 whole millimeter difference in actual depth. Now, the actual width, right, because this is an issue, right, as well, guys, is we're trying to get into tight places with our ratchets. Let's get this on here real quick. Okay, 31.9. And this one's going to be, look, guys, you can see that difference already. 27.1. So significant. You're almost 10 millimeters, almost a centimeter difference in head design width. So that's substantial. Substantial difference in the head design. And once again, I personally appreciate that ability because now it makes the ratchet, right, that head is so much more versatile in getting into small places that it becomes very useful for me. So that's the 3/8. Let's go ahead and pull out the rest of these guys. Let's check out the large 1/2 inch. Right, once again stamped, and your part number for the 1/2 inch is going to be 81374. And finish to this is very much the same. That's quite a large bolt going through there. And let's check the leverage. Similar. I will say this: I could probably have it a little bit tighter on the reversing lever. I could probably just a little bit tighter, but you guys could hear that mechanism, right? 120. And what that is that's dual pawls. They're basically stacked just off of each other, so it allows for you to only have a 60 tooth anvil inside there, and then the pawls will be just offset, so it's one paw will catch while one sits on the next gear waiting to drop into place. And I'll show you guys once again if you guys want to see how these double stack pawls look and function compared to our traditional single pawl setup. I'd be happy to pop another video and show you guys what that looks like. But locking mechanism, once again, works much the same. Nice free flexing ability as you work on items, and then as you want to lock it in place. Once again, this one does have a little bit of play too. Not a killer, but Gear Wrench, if you're watching, that's my gripe. Look at that. Give me a head that doesn't want to wobble. Otherwise, fit, finish, everything else looks great on a 1/2 inch. Take a quick look at the anvil. Once again, nice machine work down it. Good centering of the D10 ball. Yeah, not bad. Got a little bit of spring to it. Doesn't feel so bad. Actually, let me grab a quick socket here. See how that lines up. And then, of course, if we do, I got one with a D10 hole, but yeah. I'd say that I give it a B as well. Not overly strong, but not weak by any means. So there is your 1/2 inch drive. And it comes with this nice plastic case, right? Some of you guys, put this down so you can see. Some of you guys, if you want to have a space for that in your toolbox, awesome. It does sit rather high though. I'm going to say that's probably about 1.5 inches, approaching 2 inches. So it is a taller box than probably necessary. But it does give you the ability to display what it has, right? You're looking at the 120 XP. That gives you that 3-degree arc swing and lifetime warranty. Once again, GEARWRENCH, pretty good with their lifetime warranty. If you have an issue, call them up, send a picture. They'll send you a new one. Now, the 1/4 inch drive, taking a look at it here, much the same, right? Nice stamp. It does not have the logo, just the stamp this time. And the finish work actually looks better in this area. And let's see in the head. A little bit better in the head. It too still has those sharp transitions. Not quite as... It's almost as if they built this half in another factory and this half they outsourced to someone else, or maybe it's just another part of the factory where they designed these. Because this part is just so well done. And this part up here, once again, wobbles. Wow, that's actually pretty significant on this part. It does its part, removes. You'll have that free-floating flex. Then when you're ready, lock it in. Does its thing. Anvil. Looks good, well centered. Pressure appears to be actually a little bit better. Let's throw a socket on there. That might be a B plus. Maybe a B. It's not super tight. So, and then once again, everything else is stamped, color coded, colored. I like the orange addition to it, right? And how that locking mechanism works, I guess I didn't really explain it. You got that little floating gear down there that essentially grabs on both sides, right, of these grooves. So as it floats, there's a spring in there that lets it go. But then when you depress this, it locks it so that it can no longer depress. But for whatever reason, I think what's happening is it's not a super tight fitment, so it does allow for it to ever so slightly flex. Anyways, the reversing mechanism, a little bit lighter on this one, but that's to be given with a 1/4 inch. It may roll on you. It doesn't free float by any means, but it may move on you. But great little ratchet, right? And this one, we'll give you some quick measurements on each of them. The 1/4 inch is about 7 inches long. The 3/8, I'm gonna do from the center. That's about 13 inches long. And then if you're looking at the 1/2 inch, you're about 18.5 inches long in the center of the anvil, down to the end. Yeah, it's almost 19. So all three of these, I would say, are actually quite nice ratchets. Do I have my gripes? Yes. There are things that can be done better to them. But for the price point, I mean, you're talking about one snap-on wrench for the price of all three of these. And so far, all these seem to work quite well. They're all serviceable. So you're able to lube and do repairs as needed. But for me, I was looking for this specific set because I wanted something to be able to, once again use a breaker bar, but have also a slimmer design, slimmer head, so I get in those tighter places. And I feel very few ratchets in this price point exist. So, me overall happy, but yes, I would like to see some changes. Some changes made on GearWrench's side to make this just a little bit better ratchet. And I wouldn't even hate if this bumped down to a 70 tooth or a 90 tooth. Because my only worry with this dual pawl setup is how much surface area each of those pawls have at any given time. And when you're really, I mean, this is on the verge of being a breaker bar. When you're giving it that extra umph, how well are those dual pawl setups going to hold up in comparison to a larger single pawl? So that's my question. I haven't had too much experience yet with the dual pulse setup. Obviously, it's a very new design that's out there now, but only time will tell. So I want to hear you guys' thoughts. Do you guys have this set? Right? Do you have something similar? Do you recommend something else? What are your thoughts on GearWrench and their new locking flex head ratchet set? And please give a like. Uh, Shoot your comments back, and please subscribe. All of those 3 items help this video to go out there and for more people to see it. So the likes actually help out a bunch, for the very least. So, guys, thanks for tuning in, and let me know. I can open these up and let you guys take a look at them. We'll talk to you soon.